All right, and we are live. Welcome to Pistons Jack Fan Reacts. I should have Bryce Simon from the Pistons Pulse and Motor City Hoops joining me in just a moment. But what a win, guys. Honestly, game was full of emotion. It was another close one. And you know what? I promise you I'm being 100% serious here. When I do my final score graphics, it was 100 all, and I had a feeling Ivy was going to make a play there, and I wasn't surprised to see him hit that. I know that sounds insane, but either way, my thoughts aside, what a game! What a game! I can't wait to break it down with Bryce. I've got Bryce joining me, then Kyle Metz, then Cody's going to jump on. But I'm going to try to keep it to around 20 minutes per person, just so we can get through everyone. So if you want to join, please send me a DM now on Instagram or Twitter, and I will get you up here and we'll chat through the game. I'm going to go through some comments here first. Humongous. Is that your actual surname? If it is, I wrote that. Happy for Ivy. The team needed a morale boost. They did. They needed this big time. This was a must win for morale. Now, obviously not must win in long term of the season, but in as it relates to like vibes, team morale, and just keeping the good energy going, it was a must win. So awesome for Ivy, and couldn't agree with you more, Hugh. What's up, Tom? Yeah, man. What a game. Mike, great win. Ivy needed that as much as the team. I agree. He'd been a bit up and down lately. He was really good against the Wizards a week ago, but then had probably a few kind of downish games. So just huge for him. He finished with 25 and 8 and the game winner, obviously. And just we'll talk about him a lot more when Bryce gets on here. White guy next door. What a crazy fourth. Couldn't insane. I've got Bryce here now. I'm just going to bring him straight up. Bryce, what's
What's
going on,
up?
my man?
What's up, Jack? How are you doing?
I'm awesome, man. I'm so happy to have you on here. Thank you so much for making the time because I know you're incredibly busy. And when I messaged you, I said, I know you're so busy, but if you got any time, please join. So, first of all, thank you so much for jumping on here. I really appreciate it.
No, I was excited. I mean, the biggest issue for me is sometimes I don't watch the games live, so I
Yeah.
knew if it was going to be a post game thing, I needed to have an evening, but we're on Thanksgiving break this week. So I had the whole day off. I have tomorrow off, all of
Nice.
that. So sat here and
Awesome.
watched it. I forgot to eat supper because the game was kind of intriguing. So I still need to eat supper after I hop off of here. But
Yeah,
no, man, I picked a good one to jump on because that was an
you
exciting
did.
game.
I'm so happy they won that because look, I know you're very positive most of the time and level-headed, so I wasn't worried. But I just these streams after every game they can get a bit negative, so I'm very happy to have you on after a win. Um, what do you? I think we just have to start with Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
Game winner, but I thought overall his game for the most part was one of his most complete games as a scorer and facilitator. 25 points, 8 assists. Just talk me through what you saw from him tonight.
Yeah, I honestly, Jack, I was preparing okay, they lose this game, they're what, 7-12 or whatever it is, what's how many wins are they still supposed to have? And there's, all of that. And then Ivy comes up with that. Supper is so wholesome. Yes. I
Shout out
purposely
to that way.
yeah, I purposely say supper because I know a lot of people are like, what is that? I agree with you, Jack. I thought his process all game was really good. I thought he had a lot of really, really good passes. He had some in transition. You know what he did tonight more than any game I've seen is he live dribble left hand pat. Like he threw some really nice passes with his left hand. Overall, I thought it was just a really good game from him. And it's just really cool to see him get the payoff with that shot at the end. JB put the ball in his hands. They hunted the switch, which I think Pistons fans are always like, hey, hunt the switch. Because I don't think he gets there against Davion Mitchell. Like, I think Mitchell cuts
Yeah.
him off earlier, but they hunted Ochai. He got to a spot and he knocks down the shot. And it's just really cool to see that moment for him.
It was awesome as well. I honestly had no idea what to expect on the last play, but I saw you tweet out, I don't know if it was at halftime or in the first half, just about letting Jaden attack and beat the point of attack defense because he's getting into the paint at will. I know Davion was doing a pretty good job, but I actually don't know why I said this just quickly before you jumped on. For some reason, I just felt like JI was making that, and I was so happy to see him get the chance to make that shot. So yeah, I love that point that you raised during the game because Davion was tough, but I thought Ivy did a really good job of getting into the paint and that kind of thing.
Real quick, the reason what I was trying to say was I thought JB was holding him back by forcing him to run actions and run the offense, and that's why it looked like he struggled so hard to get past half court, where it's like, no, just spread everybody out and see if Davion can actually stay in front of him for 65 feet where he was picking him up, because I don't think he can do that. It's a little tighter there at the end of the game if he would have stayed on him, but yeah, like that was kind of my point there. And again, I think a lot of Pistons fans will look at that last play and like, oh, nothing creative or whatever, but they did what we always asked them to do.
Yeah.
They hunted a matchup and they put the ball in their best player's hands and said, go make a play. And I wouldn't have wanted to see anything else, whether he made or missed it.
I agree. I was just hoping he had the chance, and because I thought he played well enough, and he was the best player on the court for the Pistons. We'll get to Jaylen Duren in a moment, but I thought it was Ivy's chance to take that shot. Obviously, if he had kicked it out to an open Malik Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr., I don't know if they're both on the court, I'd be okay with that. But I was just so happy to see JI get the shot and then obviously make it. Is there any more thoughts on Ivy before I move on here?
No, I don't. Like, I had a few like nitpicky things with him defensively and some of that. But he missed some of the box outs. Like tonight, one of the biggest storylines that we should talk about, because wins don't put a blanket over everything, even though whenever you only win 14 games and you're at 8-11, it blankets a lot. I thought the wings, forwards, guard, I thought they were the issue on the glass tonight. I don't think it was Jaylen Duren. It was a little bit Isaiah Stewart, but it was Jaden not rotating, Harris mixing a box out, et cetera, et cetera. It was those guys. So like the nitpicky thing was a little bit on the defensive boards with JI.
Yeah, I agree. And I think something with Ivy this season is the missed free throws. I just feel like he's only ever going to split them at the line these days, which he hasn't been a great free throw shooter, I don't believe, so far through his career. I can't remember it in college, but I would like to see him just get to a point where it's closer to 80%, because right now it feels like every time he goes to the line, he's only hitting one. And it almost costs them, not just him, but some other missed free throws. But I want to take it to Jaylen Duren. Been a hot topic across all Pistons fans, content creators podcast. I think a lot of the criticism of him has been honestly quite warranted. But I thought tonight, particularly in that first half and that quick start they had, which I think was important, his energy was awesome. He was making plays as a facilitator. Talk me through your thoughts on his game.
Yeah, I thought he had the best half that I've seen him play in the first half, at least tonight. He was really, really good. I even thought some of the offensive stuff, I'm always a little hesitant to like how much grab and go, how much downhill stuff, but it produced some very solid things. We saw some finesse finishes. He's actually having free throw issues as well, as you brought that up. He's below 55%. What is going on? Why can't he make those? But he, I thought some really good stuff. I thought the defense was good. How many blocks did he end up with? Did he finish with 4?
3.
Yeah, he had 4 tonight, 12 rebounds. I had somebody on Twitter tell me I was wrong because I thought that the JB splitting the Stu Duren minutes was the right call, and they essentially told me I was stupid for thinking that. And
that doesn't sound like Twitter.
Yeah, no, that's not Twitter. But I think tonight there was an argument. I honestly, whenever they took Duren out with like 2 minutes to go on a defensive possession, I was like, tonight, I don't know. I feel like Duren's been pretty good tonight. I felt a little bad for him, but I think overall on the season, Stu has obviously been the better defender, but I thought this was a nice little step forward from Jaylen Duren.
I agree. I was a bit surprised by that as well, because I just thought JD had earned the right to probably close, even though Stu made some defensive plays. Like you mentioned, though, Stu got out-rebounded a few times. His kind of lack of size showed up a little bit, but awesome game for JD. And I think I'm right in saying that was probably his best game of the season. It's probably not close.
I think so. I mean, he had a 21 rebound game against somebody. Like, I'm sure people could go look at the box scores and find a game where it was better. The eye test to me, let me ask you this, because I brought up the energy he played with defensively, and I kind of wondered if maybe it's because he got to play with the ball in his hands a little bit more, right? He got to grab and go. He got to, do you think that that's kind of where he's at as a young, somewhat immature player still is? He kind of needs that offensive role to get that defensive energy out of him. Do you feel that from
Yeah,
JD?
I think that's a great call from you, and I agree. And I think that's why you see him sometimes. Like I'd been saying probably a week ago, like I'd noticed his demeanor had really dropped. Like his energy has always come and gone, but he looked like he was losing confidence a little bit a week ago, I thought, and that was leading to even a lower output of energy. But I agree with you. I think him being involved in the offense directly correlates to his and overall energy, and obviously it shows up more on the defensive end. Um, he still has his issues defensively. I'm actually very curious. Like, how do you think JB, or what do you think is the best way to use Jaylen Duren?
Yeah, so I guess Keith Black Trudeau, obviously everybody knows him, and said like that's concerning, and I agree with him that it does require that to get that kind of defensive effort, but I don't know that I would have hesitations giving him those reps to get it out of him, at least for a little while. Like put it on film enough where you can then say, JD, look, you can do it. You're showing it. You've shown it for 6 straight games now. Honestly, especially when Kate is out, Jack. So one of my
Yeah,
things is I've pushed back on the veteran point guard conversation in the content creation, like in this space with all of us. I understand it, but I'm like, I'm okay with it. I want to see what JI. You know what? I thought Ausar did some really nice stuff tonight as
yeah.
well. I think there's other ways you can use guys where you don't have to have that. It may result in losses, but I'm here to explore that space still.
And see, I think that's where. So I probably am in the camp that wants a backup point guard, mainly because I am, and maybe we differ here, but I'm being a bit concerned maybe that if when Cade's out, of
Yeah,
course, that's
yeah.
when it shows up. Like I've been a bit concerned that maybe not having that vet point guard might hurt some of the younger guys' development, like helping set up
Oh,
JD.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
But
I understand that.
that's where I'm coming from. But like, I'm so with you. Like, I think mine or my view also comes from just being a bit impatient, wanting to see more wins because
Yeah.
I'm getting a taste of it now,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is not probably the best long term view, but that's where it comes from for me. But I agree with you. Like, I think there are definitely ways around it. And I think one of the ways I've that's why I've liked JB bringing Marcus Sasser more into the rotation, not for his playmaking because I know he needs to improve it. I trust him, his handle and ball security, just as a guy who's not going to get picked like sometimes Cade and Ivy can. So, but I've kind of taken us off track here. But back to Duren, I agree with you. Like I thought tonight, his decision making on those grab and goes off the defensive glass to
Yeah.
bring him up to half court, make a play, they made sense tonight, and they were within a flow. Sometimes they've been a bit forced, but yeah,
No,
it's tricky because you want him to just have that energy and regardless, but I think you're right.
yeah, I've seen, he's not the only guy in the NBA where I think this is probably true. And if you watch a lot of NBA games, I watched the Timberwolves play this morning from whatever Sunday night or whatever. And you know what the first play of the game was? A Rudy Gobert post up. Why do you think it was a Rudy Gobert post up, Jack Kelly? It's because it's Rudy, we're not going to throw you the ball the rest of the game, but we want you to protect everything defensively and grab every rebound. So we're going to get you a touch. The Clippers do it with Zubac. Like a lot of people do it. With Duren, it has to be different, right? Because you don't want to throw it to JD on the post. Like that's not necessarily what he does well. So if we have to live with a few grabbing goes, Jack, I think I can do that if it means the defensive energy is going to be better.
I agree. And I think actually OG Pistons fans will be able to tell us. I'm pretty sure they used to do that for Ben Wallace back in the day.
Okay.
I
Yeah, that,
wasn't a
that would make
Pistons fan,
sense.
but I'm pretty sure they used to do something similar to the Rudy Gobert thing. But yeah, I think we've covered Jaylen Duren. I thought best game of the season, loved his energy. And like you said, the eye test, you just felt his energy and I really felt like you just felt his size tonight and his
Yep.
just aggression, which I thought sometimes has been lacking. But moving on, I think we should talk about Ausar Thompson.
Yes. Yes.
Probably taken too long to get to him. That's my bad. But I
No,
thought
no. I'm really great at taking things off track all over the place, Jack. You
I've
know
lost
this about
track
you
of
know this about me.
Yeah, honestly, Bryce, I just want to hear your thoughts on him. Like, so good to just see him on the court, but yeah, what did you like from him?
You said it right there. First and foremost, regardless of anything else, as we talk about his game, critique it, whatever, it's really cool to see him back and healthy. But I thought, I don't know what you thought. I thought you could immediately see the difference on the defensive end, like on RJ Barrett, on Scotty Barnes. Nobody else guards like him, Jack. Nobody.
Crazy. And he even got called for a couple of fouls, but I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll have to be smart about that. My guess, I'm sure he got a little bit winded and it's his first game and all of that, but you could just see, we've talked about like, oh, Ron Holland, that's pretty good defense, or, even at times, Cade Cunningham, much better two-way player this year. None of those guys are Ausar Thompson. Nobody. And the versatility of the matchups he can take, Jack. So I was really excited to see him. I thought you could see it. I think what interested me the most, one, the jumper looked more fluid. Even the miss looked more fluid. But was the stuff he did with the ball in his hands, like you can see where there's a little bit of creation ability from him.
That's where I was just gonna go, because I love the jump shot, but it looks smoother. But I honestly have pretty low expectations for it this season. I'm just trying to be realistic, but it definitely looks better. And I was keen to hear your thoughts on it, because we know you go 100 of 100 from three in practice. So you're the jump shot doctor, which I'm going to ask you about that after. But ball in the hands, like I love that JB empowered him to do that immediately. And secondly, I thought he made some nice reads. And the handle, did he have a turnover? I'm not sure, but I don't remember him making any.
So he had one turnover, but it was the offensive foul. It was the one. So he drove
the screen.
Yeah, he drove. It was it's exactly what you would want Ausar to do, especially it's the Draymond Green thing, right? If you're not going to guard him at the 3-point line, when he catches, should dribble right into a DHO. That's not exactly what this was, but I love the mentality. I love the mindset. And Hardaway Jr. made the shot. Like if they don't call the foul, it's a bucket and we're all praising it. So that one, and then he had a lob to Duren in transition that just was beautiful. He saw it. The way he rebounds, I'm cool with him grabbing and going as well. Like, again, this is how you take some of the pressure off Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, is you allow Ausar on 6 of his 8 defensive rebounds to just grab and go, and he creates offense to start the possession.
Exactly. And I also loved, he had like a drive where he got all the way into the paint, kicked it out to a wide open Malik Beasley, who missed it, but he's going to hit that more often than not.
Yes.
But the thing with Ausar, like, I absolutely, and Amen's the exact same, but he got called for a foul on this, but Davion Mitchell was dribbling it down the court.
I know.
And Ausar, like Davion Mitchell is he's running and dribbling as fast as he can. Ausar is just on his hip, sliding his feet. I'm like, this doesn't look human. Like how does he, like, he's like gliding. It looks effortless. Like that stuff is it's so exciting to see. Just like, I think this team's done a reasonable job with the personnel they have defensively. Like, of course, it's going to be a lot better. But just seeing that level of athlete and defensive talent out there just puts a smile on your face, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you forget how elite level of an athlete he is, right? Because Ron Holland's athletic, Jaden Ivey's athletic in his own right in a different way, and then you watch somebody like Ausar, and that you remember he's a 1% athlete in a world of elite level athletes, which is it's just crazy. I think what I'm interested to see, real quick, also just big picture, this team went 12 of 37 from 3. 22 of 31 from the free throw line, and gave up 20 plus offensive rebounds and still found a way to win a game. I realize, like, we need to talk about some of that stuff, right? Yeah. But they won a game without their best player when those things happen. And here's the other thing. The other team had their best player. Now they were missing Grady Dick. They're missing Emmanuel Quickly. They weren't helped. Jakob Poeltl's been on a streak race recently. So like, I want to point that out. What I'm interested though is, what happens to Ron Holland now? Because we saw those guys on the court together, Jack, and the spacing is going to be an issue. So,
yeah, it's tricky. I think maybe Ron, while they, like, I'm not sure what you're expecting, but like, I expect Ausar probably to be playing. How many minutes did he actually play tonight before I say this?
Tonight he played only 16. Holland played 11. Interesting. Lowest minutes of the 10.
Yeah, would you expect Ausar to get? Oh, how many did Tech play? Sorry,
only 9.
Okay, I would like that switched. I think because Tech started to be able to shoot the ball a little bit better in the past week or so. Because Ron, I love Ron. I love his energy. I know he's so raw. And there was a play where I think they swung it to an open corner 3 in a key moment, and he airballed it, and it was just like, Man, just when these games are close in the fourth, it's just really tough. And I would like to see those minutes flip with Fontecchio, but I think Ausar's going to gradually eat away at Ron's minutes
I
as
think
he progresses.
I think I'm with you. The one I'm
Yeah.
worried that we're all wrong about is Fontecchio. Like, I'm a little nervous that he isn't gonna end up in the rotation. I mean, 9 minutes tonight, whenever you don't have Cade Cunningham, when Beasley's not making shots, Tobias isn't making shots. So I don't, Sasser only played 14. So, Cade's gonna come back and take all of those plus some. I think JB wants to play a 9-man rotation. I think Ausar's obviously in it. Stu's obviously in it. Ausar, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Oh, it'd be Beasley would go back to off the bench. Yeah, my bad.
I think that's the 9,
Yeah, and then so it's Ausar or Ron, and I mean, I think obviously, I don't think there's not even close that Ausar is a better player than Ron Holland right now.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even include the jump shot with each of them, which Ausar's probably looks a little bit better right now off one make.
Yeah.
But it's just like we were talking about earlier, the ball handling on offense, obviously the defense, the rebounding. I wanted to ask you, Bryce, just more zooming out a little bit off this game, just your thoughts on each of the 3 vets so far. And Tobias, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley.
Yeah. All right. So Tobias, can we just make some catch and shoot shots? Right? That's what I need, Jack, from Tobias Harris. I always look up just from the corner. You know what? If he misses every wing 3-pointer, I probably can live with that. But he shot 40% from the corner last year and 40 the year before, and a couple years he was like close to 50. He is up 39% now, so maybe it's getting better. That's my thing with him. I don't love all the mid-post isolations they run for him, but whatever. Beasley and Hardaway Jr., I think, are just going to be streaky. I think that's just what it's going to be with those two guys. When Beasley's making shots, it's great. I want to shout out Tim Hardaway Jr. If you would have told me he was going to lead the NBA in charges drawn 19 games into the season, you could have taken my house in that bet because I would have lost. Shout out. Jack,
I agree. 2 tonight.
2 tonight. And the dude just got stitches because he was trying to take charges, and he comes right back and starts doing it again. So shout out Tim Hardaway Jr. And I wrote this on the Substack the other day. Shame on the young guys if they don't take that as an example and start doing it themselves. I'm a little frustrated nobody else on the team has taken a charge, that he's the only one. Marcus Sasser, why aren't you doing this? Jaden Ivey, why aren't you doing this whenever this vet is coming in and has started doing it?
No, it's a great point. And like we just said, 2 tonight. And is he actually the official leader?
So when he got the first one, I think that was his 8th, and it said he was tied. So I just assumed that 9 took the lead. So
that's huge because look, he obviously has his defensive shortcomings just based on his size and also his age.
That's a good point, Jack. He does have
but to see him do that, it kind of makes up for it in a way. But I think I'm with you. Tobias, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Beasley, I think, have exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
Even if Tim Hardaway Jr. has struggled a bit since coming back from that head injury, Tobias, you just hit those catch and shoot shots, and those mid post isolations. We're talking about Duren and getting him the ball to get him his energy. It kind of feels like that's JB's way of getting Tobias into the game.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm saying, do you think that's correct? I don't know.
So here's what was frustrating to me tonight was, and maybe he didn't have the right matchup, but sometimes it doesn't seem like they care about them. These are the games to do it when you don't have Cade, right? To me, you stagger Tobias into the second unit when Ivy's out, and you let him run offense through the mid post. That's the time to do it. And I feel like they didn't. So I looked it up. Tamani Kamara had 8 coming into tonight. I do believe the Blazers play tonight, but Tim Hardaway Jr. was tied for second with Isaiah Joe and Draymond Green. So I think as we record this, THJ is. I'm with you. I think Malik Beasley has done essentially what you would want. Hardaway Jr. probably exceeded what I thought, and he needs to, because I've watched some Mavericks games and Quentin Grimes is
he started slow, but now he's looking good, and I'm
two-way player down there. And then Harris has probably been a little bit lower. just in terms of the shot making. The defense has probably been as bad as much as I thought. He's really rebounded the ball, which has been huge, right? He just got to make more shots. I think he's got to be more efficient, and I'd probably be happy with what he's given them also.
I'm with you on that. I thought Tobias maybe my initial thoughts were he was kind of struggling to adjust because I think when he signed that deal, he probably came in thinking he was the second
Sure.
guy.
Yeah.
But then Ivy's kind of taken that mantle. And then I thought for just the first 5 to 10 games he was struggling, but now it's kind of going on for a bit longer. And he's had bright spots, but I agree, it's still below probably what we expected. Do we want to talk about the rebounds and missed free throws? Because I think
Sure.
if they had lost the game, I can't think of two more glaring points. Mainly the rebounds. Like there was one stage where I think the Raptors missed 4 shots and then it went to Boucher for a 3 in the corner. And I was just like, I don't know if they can win this. Like, and you kind of mentioned it, like with the rebounds, you thought it was on like kind of more of the wings and guards and a bit of Stu. Do you have any other thoughts on that? Because I feel like at times the offensive rebounds have really hurt this team throughout the season.
Yeah. So real quick on Harris. So I should give him more credit. Before tonight, he was actually went on an 8-game stretch where he shot really, really well. 49% from 3. So I should give him some more love for that. I didn't realize he had kind of turned it around, which he's still at 32% on the season. So that tells you how bad it was coming into that stretch. Yeah. Here's where this team seems to struggle. So they're actually very good. If you look like defensive rebound percentage, they're 5th. Offensive rebound percentage, they're 8th. But elite offensive rebounding teams really seem to give them trouble. And I think it's because when you play good offensive rebounding teams, Jack, you need 5 guys to go in there and they all have to get involved. Here's another sneaky part of this. You know who's 3rd in defensive rebounding on this team? The guy who didn't play tonight, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, true. Great point.
So Duren's at 6.4. Harris is at 6.3. Cade is at 6.1. So like Cade not being there really impacted the defensive boards tonight as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. We talk about missing Cade, and I think often, I mean, I go straight to just thinking about the offense, but
yeah.
I think his defense, he still has those lapses, but I think his buy-in on defense this season,
I would agree,
has been a real key driver, especially without Ausar, to why they were up in that top 10 for a week or so there. But it's a great point. And then the free throws, we kind of touched on this as well, but what were they tonight? 22 of 32 or something?
22 of 31. Yep.
Okay. So, and for me, it's been Tobias, Ivey, and Duren, and Cade's missed some, but those 3 guys have just been, one of the big bright spots about Duren last season was, what was he up to? Like 77% or something?
I think it was high. I know Wes got us on a Sheeter sham because his free throw percentage last year was better than Luka Doncic at 79%. Yep, 79%. Even his rookie year, Jack, he was at 61%, and he was at 55% coming into tonight and went 5 of 8.
Yeah. And and I think he missed, like, it was a stretch where it was Tobias, Duren, and Ivy, and they all like split it. And it was like they were trying to get back in. It was just killing me watching it. But hopefully they can figure that out, because I don't want to say free throw shooting's lost them a heap of games. There's obviously the Ron Holland one, but anyone blaming Ron Holland for that's insane. But yeah, any other, like, I think we've covered that. I just want to, before I let you go here, Bryce, I just want to get your overall thoughts now on the season. 8 and 11. I'm not sure where that has them in the standings, but I assume they're in that play-in region. Thoughts on the season so far compared to what you're expecting?
Yeah. So real quick, Holland is actually one of the best free throw shooters on the team at 86%. It's just he missed 2 really big ones. But yeah, like Beasley's at 69%, even though he doesn't shoot that many. And Ivy shoots the most on the team. He's at 74. Duren shoots the 3rd most. He's at 55. So that all plays into it. Here's my biggest takeaway, Jack. This team is 8 and 11. And I don't know, Amari tweeted out what the pace is. I didn't at 35 win pace or something like that. That is above my expectations. Like not even like that is the high end of what I thought this team could potentially achieve this year. But most importantly, they have 8 wins and their 2 best players are the young backcourt duo. And to me, that's what really needs to be emphasized, because if they had 8 wins behind Tobias averaging 22 and Beasley averaging 16 and stuff like that, I don't think it would hit the same. I don't think there's any question who the 2 best players on the team are to me. and they're leading this team to 8 wins. And we're about to get to see Ausar Thompson join that mix as well, which can make it even more exciting.
I love that you brought that up, because I think from listening to the Pistons Pulse, that was one of your big storylines for the season, was figuring out if this backcourt can work. Because
Yeah,
I know you're a big fan of JI and like his potential, and I am as well. But I think honestly, just me personally, towards the end of last season, just the way he closed last season, I was a little bit like a bit concerned about him and
sure.
Cade
Yeah,
just being able to work. And I want it to work so bad, but I think the fact we've seen it this season, they've played well together in multiple games. They've played one's played good in another, one's, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you're really seeing it, and they're leading. They're at the forefront of this 8-11 start, which is honestly like probably the main thing you probably wanted to see this season.
No, 100%. And I've probably believed in it more than a lot. And I even felt that, like, I was like, okay, is this like blind faith that I think that
Yeah.
this thing is going to work? So it's nice to see it work. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense to stagger those two, which we finally are getting to see this season. But I think that's the most important thing, is not only are they winning games, they're winning games behind those guys. The vets have come in and, as you mentioned, done a lot of what you would want to see. I think now for me, it's, can they do that the rest of the year? And then how can we evaluate JD and Ausar? Those are the other two guys. Like, what can we see now that Asar is healthy? Ron Holland, I wasn't expecting a lot as a rookie anyway. So like, I can take a year and kind of focus on the other guys first.
I agree. Well, look, Bryce, I think we've covered it, man. I want to let you go have your supper.
Thank
Sean
you.
here says, congrats, Jack. You landed the big fish, Bryce, the legend,
Oh,
Simon. For
no.
those that don't know, Bryce and I go way back. Like
Yes.
back when I just got on Twitter, one of the first people I ever DM was Bryce, asking if I could help him. Like, Bryce is an absolute legend. You
Oh,
are a
thank
big
you.
fish, mate. So and like
No.
you got so much going on. So thank you so much for joining. Tell the people where they can find everything you're doing. You're doing a million things.
Yeah.
But everyone probably follows you, but please tell them where they can find you and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, at Motor City Hoops on X and on Blue Sky now. I made the move over there as well. If really the biggest thing, guys, subscribe to the Motor City Hoops Substack. I really enjoy doing those breaks. It's like tons and tons of notes after every game. There'll be NBA draft stuff eventually. So motorcityhoops.substack.com or whatever it is. And then if you want general NBA draft game theory podcast with Sam Vecini, I'm over there as well. But yeah, Jack, you are crushing it. Love seeing your growth and how you've dove into this and everything you're doing. Could not be more proud of you. The Pistons
Appreciate you.
fan base is lucky to have you creating content for them. So it was my pleasure to join you tonight after this big win.
It means a lot, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad we
Yep.
got to talk about a win, and hopefully your schedule allows you to jump back on here another
100%.
time
Yeah.
this season.
Yep.
I'd love to have you on.
Yep. All right. Got to share the
All right, man.
bobblehead. See you guys.
Let's
Anybody
go.
hasn't seen it, let's go.
Oh,
All
is
right.
that your bobblehead? Hang on, put that back up. Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
is pretty good.
our football seniors got it as our coach's gift or whatever at the end of the season. It was really
I
good.
heard you talking about that, but I hadn't seen it. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
I
All
love it.
right.
All right, Bryce, we'll be in
Yep.
touch, man. Catch you.
Later, guys.
All right, guys. I'm going to bring up Kyle here in a moment, but I'm just going to go through some comments here because we've got plenty to get through. And yeah, shout out to Matt Wade, Detroit Bad Boys affiliate. Oh, I don't even know if that's the right word, but shout out to you, Matt. Oh God, we got so much good stuff in here. That's how I'm feeling. I can't say it, but that's how I'm feeling. I think watching Jaden hit that shot, that was the first time this season I've like fully yelled in my room here. Like that was awesome. What a win, Jack. Absolutely. So many more in here. I swear they had determined to give me a heart attack before the season is over with. Absolutely. Thomas, my dad always says supper. I'll be honest, I've never said the word supper, but maybe it's a bit different here in Australia. What else? I'm just going to drop Kyle a link now. Well, how good's Bryce? I know you guys have all listened to the Pistons Pulse and everything he does, but I'll drop a link for his Substack as well, which he was talking about in the description. Where's Kyle? All right, Kyle, I've just sent you a link, so I hope you're still watching. Come to Blue Sky. I'll be honest, guys. I'm trying to run 4 accounts and watch these games at the same time as in the other Pistons Jack accounts on TikTok and stuff. I don't know if I have the bandwidth for Blue Sky. So I think we're just going to stay on Twitter and the main ones for now. Full-time Dame. We need a vet PG because when Katie's not running the office, it gets way too helter-skelter. So, yeah, I agree. I think there's, like, Bryce made a good point as to why you might not need one. But I think for me, and I know a lot of fans might not like this, but I remember when Kate was a rookie, I felt like he played some of his best basketball with Corey Joseph alongside him. And it was more so purely not to do with Corey Joseph. He did shoot threes well that year, but it was more so to do with the fact that when Cade had a turnover or they pressured him, the next possession down, he could just give it to Kojo and he would handle it and take the pressure off Cade for those first 5 to 6 seconds. And that's kind of why I feel like a vet point guard would help this team, just to take the pressure off Ivy, like you saw tonight when the Raptors pressured him and there was that horrible turnover at half court. I just think it would really help with that. But I'm going to bring up Kyle now, and we'll get to some more comments as we go. Kyle, what's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
How are we feeling?
Glad to be feeling. Hey, a win's a win. Can't complain about that.
I think the buzzer beater helps all that frustration you had. It helps at least nullify some of it, as opposed to them just winning this game. But yeah, talk me through how you were watching that Ivy buzzer beater and just your emotions before and after the shot.
Yeah, I think as I was watching, I didn't love the action. I mean, obviously it got him switch off of Davion, so that was the point. But I felt like it was really sloppy, and it felt like he wasn't gonna get a shot off. Like I thought he like kind of looked like he was moving in mud a little bit, like, and then somehow he got to a spot and got a shot off. Like, and I was just kind of like, wait, did he get it off in time? Like, because I couldn't believe he got a shot off in time. So it worked, and so, but yeah, it didn't look clean, but he pulled it out. So it's all that matters.
Yeah. I already spoke about it, but I just wanted him to get the shot so bad. I thought he'd earned it, and he, I agree. It did look a little bit clunky, but I like the process there of, like you said, how they got the switch and then he just went downhill to the rim. For a second, I was thinking he's going to step back for a 3, and I wouldn't have been too happy with that. So at the end of the day, he got close enough to the rim and made the shot. So yeah, we'll take it.
Tech being on the floor also made me nervous because he hadn't been shooting well. So having Tech on the floor, I
will push back just a little bit. He hasn't on the season, but his last 3 games, he's actually been okay. He's gotten better.
Yeah.
I can see why you felt like that for sure. I've spoken about the main players from tonight, but feel free to go over your thoughts on Jaylen Duren's game, a bit more on Jaden Ivey, Ausar. Dive in.
Yeah, I think just to echo what Bryce was saying, I was gonna make a similar point. Duren definitely, like, I put it on Twitter, Blue Sky, like a couple days ago, because I noticed that, like, how bad Duren's defense had gotten in one of those games, because he wasn't getting offensive touches at all. You could just tell. And Drummond was known for this, obviously, too.
He certainly was.
And so tonight, like, you could tell he got to dribble the ball like 3 times in a row, and it was like, okay. And everyone's like, oh, he's having a good game. It's like, okay, yeah, he's getting to touch the ball. Like, and I agree with Bryce where it's not necessarily a big deal. Like, you hope he grows out of it a little bit, but, like, I agree with Bryce. If it takes a couple, grab and goes to, like, keep him engaged for the whole game, you do that, right? Like,
yeah,
he's not bad enough of an offensive player that you can't give him a few touches just to keep him engaged. But it definitely is noticeable. And so hopefully that's something that the coaches notice, and instead of trying to beat it out of him, just like for now, it's like Bryce said, like, let's find a way to make it work without completely disrupting everything when Cade gets back.
Yeah. Well, I think that the grab and goes, like, I will be honest, they frustrated me at times this season because he's had some poor plays, whether someone's drawn a charge on him or he's just tossed it for a turnover. But tonight, I think he had a couple in that first quarter and they worked. And Bryce mentioned, like, the fact Cade wasn't there. It made sense to give him the ball more. So maybe that's, one of the things with Cade this season that I think he's been really, really good for the most part. But at times I feel like Cade's held onto the ball for too long. And I think you kind of saw tonight Just with the K thing, I just feel like at times, and I get why he just hasn't trusted his teammates enough. Like I feel like those 2 games in Charlotte, he was kind of like that. But I think you saw tonight, like Duren and Ivy, when they're involved, and Ivy's always involved, but Duren, like you get a really good version of him. And yes, it's questionable. You wish you would bring that, but if that's what it takes, then maybe that's what they need to do, especially in that first quarter.
Yeah. Well, I think too, you saw the result of him playing with a plotting big against him that he doesn't have to worry about covering the perimeter. Like there wasn't, and they didn't, like, again, Grady Dick wasn't playing, Quickly wasn't playing. Like they did have some guys missing. And RJ Barrett wasn't like necessarily like raining threes or anything, so like they weren't hurting them on those as much as they probably could have. And so some of it too is just a matter of like the opponent, I think. So we'll see if, that's always going to be a thing for Duren is, can he stay engaged and can he continue to move his feet when it's a stretch big? Like, are they going to be able to make the right decisions?
Well, I think they got Memphis in a couple of days, which I think Jaren Jackson doesn't play the 5. Oh, they got Zach Edey at the 5. So, and then Jay Huff, he's been shooting some threes. So we'll see how he goes there. But I think, would you agree that was his best game of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely seemed like that for sure.
And I think getting him involved early is the key. Get him involved in the first quarter in particular, and then I think you might get better energy for all 4 quarters. But
yeah, I can see that.
Thoughts on Ausar Thompson?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely good to see him out there. Yeah, he definitely had a few like frustration fouls. You kind of mentioned this too. There's 2, like I think the one on Davion Mitchell, I don't think was a foul, to be honest. Like Davion definitely threw his shoulder into him. And so like it is what it is. But he's gonna get that call because he's the offensive player. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But there was that one where he like came in, he flew in and kind of threw up a shot, and it was kind of wild, and he missed it, and he didn't get the rebound, and then he immediately fouled on the rebound. Like, it's that kind of stuff that makes sense. It's his first game back. He's itching to play. I thought like he settled in there towards like the latter half of the third quarter. He had that when he had that like that possession or those 2 possessions in a row where he hits that corner 3 and has a no look lob to Duren. Like, because right before that he was kind of like, okay, is JB going to pull him? Because he's like, he's out of control a little bit. You can tell he's a little frustrated. And then he just like 2 plays and he was locked in. So it was encouraging. It was encouraging to see him play. He was out there for the closing minutes, which I thought was huge. Like that obviously says something that the coaches see enough in him already. Like I was surprised. Like, so he must be doing enough in practice for them to feel comfortable with that role, even after he blew that switch earlier in the game. Like at the end of the second quarter or something.
Yeah, and they hit a 3. Yeah. End of the
right,
third.
Yeah.
Put the Raptors up by 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the third.
Yeah. Well, I just
so it was good to see JB come back to him.
I agree.
What I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's so good. Like I was so happy just to see him out there in that closing lineup. I can't even remember if he made actually any plays on defense, but just having the option to put him on Scotty Barnes for a possession or something was just so nice as a fan to watch that, because I mean, like Tobias tries, but he just doesn't have the foot speed to stay with Scotty Barnes. And Ausar finished with 5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He got up 8 shots. I don't know he got up 8 shots.
He had 2 corner threes, I think, and then he had one of those turnarounds in the lanes that he just came up short on because you could tell his legs were still getting there. He had a few layups early in the game that he missed, one that he made. So like, he had a good mix of shots, but none of them felt forced. They all felt within the flow. There was one maybe that felt forced on that crazy drive because you could tell he was just wanting to do something. But yeah, and to your point with Tobias, to segue from some of that, you saw that was part of the issue with the rebounding tonight. Yeah, was Stu and Duren were constantly having to come over and help hard on Tobias's man, and then Tobias wasn't able to box out, or there was no help on the weak side to kind of box out, and so it was clinking off the side of the rim, and Pirtle was just putting it like several possessions where like because the guard or the wing couldn't stay with the guy on the pick and roll, Duren helped. Like he was in the right position, but he had to commit, and then there was no one on the backside to help rebound, and that happened so many times. And it's like
at one point.
Yeah. And so that's where it's like when you start seeing that stuff, it's like, okay, that's not on Duren, that's not on Stu.
Yeah.
There was a few times where I felt like there was one in particular that I felt like in the fourth quarter where Duren jumped early to contest Scotty. Whereas if he would have just stayed on the ground and put a hand up, like, and he would have been able to get the rebound still, but because he committed early and jumped too early. So then, yeah, there was no recovery at that point. So that was a pivotal moment. And so luckily they pulled out the game, but there was definitely like that one was on you, but yeah.
If JI doesn't hit that game winner, all we're talking about is offensive rebounding. or I guess defensive rebounding for our team. But yeah, there was points where I was just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like the Raptors had multiple possessions where they'd get 3 or 4. I'm not even exaggerating. Like
no, I know it was,
and the Raptors like just kept missing, and I'm like, guys, like I know some of these misses are hard to get in. Like they're coming off the rim pretty hard and low, but still, like, it was driving me nuts. But
and I think this is, I think that's where if it's not Ausar's first game back, like 25% of those don't happen.
Yeah, true.
Or if Cade's there, between Cade and Ausar, 50% of those don't happen.
Yeah.
Because Cade is like, I mean, Blake or Bryce said it, but like, yeah, he is a key rebounder on this team at his position. And Ausar definitely was and will continue to be. Tonight was just different. But yeah, and a lot of it was just defensive rotations. They were scrambling constantly, and so they could never were in the right position to grab the long rebound. That happened often.
No, absolutely. I agree. Like Cade not being there is, it's a big absence. And then, if once you get Ausar playing more than 15 minutes, it's a great point from you. Where else do you want to take it, Kyle? I can't remember.
It was just fun to see them.
Yeah,
it was fun to see them win. Like they needed this. Like big time. And it would be completely excusable if they didn't. If like just looking at what happened, looking where they're at with the with no Cade and just kind of things like, but the Raptors are bad this year and they had a lot of missing players. Like this is the game you have to win. Just for the sake of not letting things get weird. Right. Or like, this is how this is how
way to put it. It's a great way to put it. Things were going to start getting weird if they lost tonight. I agree, because that's how I was feeling.
Yeah, but they pulled us out, right? So they find another way to win against a team they're supposed to beat, which they've done a pretty good job at this year. I'll give them that. They're 8-11, so they've clearly, they're not winning more often than they're not, but they're winning games that they weren't winning last year. They're still in the 8th seed. They've got the same number of wins as the 6th seed. Like, they're doing okay, and Cade's not there. So if you can pull out a few without Cade, you can't really complain about that. So
I agree. It's just, I think it is just so good to see them win and win a game like that. There's obviously some things there that it could so easily have gone the other way, and we're sitting here feeling pretty down, but they won, and it's so good just to see them win on a buzzer beater. Like I'm trying to think the last time they won on an actual buzzer beater, I could think of maybe Kelly Olynyk in Charlotte.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not the historian,
but like it's so nice just to see them get a win like that, regardless of who they're playing, because they're without Cade, who's, I think we talk about who the Raptors were missing, but they still had Scotty Barnes, they still had RJ Barrett. Jakob Poeltl's been awesome. Like Pistons are missing the guy who runs 80% of their offense. Like they are missing a huge piece, regardless about his scoring stats and stuff. He runs the show and does everything and keeps his offense going. So to see them win at home like that as well, I was really excited and just happy for them, honestly, and happy for us fans.
Yeah, I want to take it the bench line that we saw with Ron and Ausar and Tech and Stu. And they had Sasser out at that time. But if you have Ivy or Cade in that lineup, bro, like that is what we want to see. Like we need that at some point this season. Because in theory, right, that's a lot of size. Can you imagine Cade with those four? Like that's some 5 out, good defense, good size, good rim protection. Like
I like it, but I'll be honest with you, the way Ron is shooting right now, I only want to see that if they got a lead. Ron's,
sure, that's fair.
But I agree, it is so fun, and I like with Cade out there in particular, with Ron and Ausar running the lanes with him. Like, yeah, there's a lot of size, athleticism. It's exciting
because if you got Tech, you have Tech and Stu or Tobias. Even Tobias, like that. Yeah. That's that's a lot of size. It's a lot of switchable guys, and honestly, I do think Asar's corner 3 percentage is going to be like reasonable.
Well, he shot just before he post All-Star break. He played, I think, 9 games, shot 40% from the corners on like 20 odd looks, and that was with a different form. So I don't know how much that means, but
hey, he's shooting 50% right now. So what?
Yeah. I know when he took that half-court shot, I'm like, Ausar, and then you're going to do 33%. Come on, bro, you got to watch those percentages.
Yeah, I think that has the potential especially if Tech can get his legs back under him. I think that could be a really fun combination. But it kind of depends if they let Stu shoot too. That kind of depends on that too. With that lineup, you have to be rotating him out as a roller or as a popper rather than a roller in that sense. But I mean, from the defense standpoint, that would be amazing. So
it would be fun. Like, we haven't actually spoken about Stu tonight. I feel like I'm obviously very positive on Stu is my guy, but I think like his rim protection is crazy right now because he's always been a solid rim protector, but the numbers haven't always backed it up a heap. This season, the numbers back it up, but just watching it, like another 3 blocks tonight, 5 the game before, and it's more than the blocks, but like, where has this come from? Like a little bit, like it's kind of shocking me a little bit.
Yeah, the advanced stats have always shown it. It's the counting stats that don't always usually bear it out. Just to like, and that's what you were talking about for sure. Like, he doesn't get a lot of blocks, whatever. But yeah, I think part of it is he has slimmed down a little bit. I don't know if you noticed. Like he does look a little more trim from his rookie year. I think playing the 4, he had to like change his body a little bit. And so some of that is, I think, maybe just he's in the league. He's been around, like technique. He's he knows the game. He's a little more disciplined. I think part of it is he's also playing against backups most of the time. So again, there's right where he's playing in a better system for him. He's got a competent defensive coach with a good system. So there's a lot of reasons why, like, I think we're seeing the counting stats like bear out with he's always held opponents so low percentage comparative with their averages. Like that's been a number one of this thing. So yeah, I think his timing is better. He's in a better position.
Yeah.
The guards are playing better too in defense, so that helps, right? So he's not having to be out of position or kind of catch up. But yeah, it's crazy. It's been fun to watch him. I'm shocked by how many blocks he's getting.
I'm shocked. Some of these are he's recovering and blocking off the backboard. I'm just like, what the? Like, I know he's got wingspan's ridiculous, but I'm just still like, I'm shocked. And you're right. Like the advanced numbers have always backed it up, but it just feels like it's gone to another level. I think like this season, it's been really good to watch because, especially like Duren was good tonight, but obviously for the most part of the season, they've needed every bit of defense from Stu. Before I let you go here, Kyle, because I've just got another couple of people to come up. Have we any other thoughts on this game? But if not, just how you feeling overall now? Because I can't remember the last time we chatted, but I think it was about a week ago.
Yeah, it's been a few games. Yeah, I think it's still, when I watch games, I still have this like, I can't get my hopes up, but I'm not going to not watch. Like that's kind of where I'm at, if I'm being honest. Like, and it always has the potential of like, is this going to ruin my night? do I want to do this tonight? I'm not like, actively creating content right now, so I have that choice a little bit. But yeah, no, I think I think they're ahead of where I thought they would be in some ways. Especially with the brutal early schedule, especially with Cade and Ausar playing a lot less, again, especially Ausar playing a lot less than we thought he was going to, like him coming this late into the season. So I think for all intents and purposes, it's exciting. And am I the only one that's excited to see like Bobby Klintman come back? Because I'm just kind of like, man, the way he was shooting in the preseason, I want to see him get some run. So,
Well,
which we Pistons fans love their second round pick, so I'm one of them too. But
Bobby's a legit second round pick, though. I think we've gotten excited about worse second round picks.
Sure,
probably more excited.
Yeah,
I'm with you. We were talking about Bobby on last stream. Yeah, like he would have played meaningful minutes by now, just based on what we've seen. I don't know what's going on with that calf, but I want to see him back soon.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I think for this season is definitely just enjoy what you can enjoy and throw out what you can't. A phrase that I hear a lot in my circles is, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Like,
I love it.
Don't get caught up in like overanalyzing this team.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy what little we can enjoy after last year. And I know that like other people, there's reasons why, whatever. Like, if I'm the GM, I can't think that way. But as a fan,
yeah,
let's just enjoy what we can enjoy. And if anything else that comes after it, whatever.
I love it. And I think, Kyle, every time you've come over, it's been after a win. So we need to get you up here more. I don't think we've discussed a lot. I had you here after the Philly game tonight and definitely the other game. I'm pretty sure they won. So you're the good luck charm. So
hey, or I just refuse to come on. Please. I don't want to talk about
this.
Very
true. That's very true. And I do not blame you at all.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm going to get Cody up, but thank you so much for making the time. Tell the people they can find you. And
Yeah, I'm also on Blue Sky now. Probably doing more there. I'm on Twitter too, but just decluttering my life in a way. But again, that's where I'm at. That's where I hang out. I'll tweet into the void. Come respond to me during the games. Hopefully I'm here. I'll try to be here as much as I can. But yeah, man, love it. Jack's amazing. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with him because he's dope. And Cody, go Lions.
Go Lions. Thanks, Carl. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you. Here he is.
Kyle just said go Pack. It's recorded, so I saw it. I heard it. That made my night. Don't care if we didn't try it or not.
How you feeling, man? I just want to say up the top, your DMs tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. Go back. Like, reading your DMs is like, just that is how a Pistons fan's like life. Like, then 1 minute later, it's like I hate this team.
How did you like my? I'm coiled up like a snake in Australia right now.
I was laughing. I'm sorry I don't reply, but I see them at the end and I'm just like, oh my God, that's how I feel. But I can't.
Dude, I was so mad at the defensive rebounding tonight. I was ready to throw myself out my apartment window. I was so upset.
Bryce and Carl have spoken about the rebounding. Some of those boards that they were giving up were insane, but yeah, floor is yours, Cody.
Let's talk about Jaden Ivey, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
What a game by Jaden Ivey. I don't even care about it. Scoring, great. We know he can do that. Dude, he had some great passes tonight.
Yeah.
He had that one where he was dribbling left through that lefty whip pass with one hand to the corner to Malik Beasley. Beasley hits a three, starts doing that little Beasley shimmy he does. Like that, dude, that was a sick pass by Jaden. He had a lot of good reads tonight. A lot of really good reads tonight. Yeah, I mean, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about in the last stream of like, obviously I think they still need a backup point guard, but I think that these moments show you why it's important for Ivy to do this stuff. Because he looked obviously second game initiating without Cade. It was night and day. Now, obviously, the level of opponents got to factor that in. The Magic are a top 3 defensive team in the entire NBA. So, obviously, easier to do it against the Raptors than it is the Magic. But he looked more comfortable. He looked steadier. To Bryce's point, I agree with him. I think that the one thing I didn't like is I think JB was forcing him to run too many actions instead of just saying, hey, like, get downhill every once in a while. Just go attack. Davion Mitchell can't do it 60 feet all day. He's a great defender, but nobody has energy to do that all day. Go moving side to side and running backwards with JI. It's not possible. So that's one thing I wish they did a little bit more in this game, but he started doing it on his own. He was just like, I'm taking over. I'm getting in transition. I'm doing my thing. I mean, just a really, really good performance from JI offensively. I was really impressed.
I agree. And the passing, I'm going to need to go back and watch some of them. So I think I missed some. I don't even know what I was doing, but you and Bryce have both highlighted how good it was. And I agree, like the scoring, I don't care about too much, but I just thought the timeliness of his buckets were huge. And he had 3 turnovers, but I don't care about that tonight. I thought, I've already said this, but I was just so happy he got the opportunity to take that shot because I thought he earned it. And obviously I'm so happy to see it go down, but they hunted the switch. He gets downhill. What were you thinking was going to happen on that last play?
I honestly thought that they were going to. I thought they were going to set up more of a I mean, obviously they had the lineup in for a 5-out look. I didn't think they were going to get into the 5-out look like they did with Beasley setting the screen. I honestly thought they were going to park Beasley and THJ in corners, and let Ivy attack and either whip it around from one side, if he's going right, whip it around to whoever's on the left side, or just that easy kick pass to the right. But I thought they were putting the ball in Ivy's hands, letting him go downhill, and then make a decision from there. But I like the action. Like Bryce said, people are going to say, "Oh, it's not that creative," but it gets you exactly what you want. Davion Mitchell's going to have a much easier time staying with Jaden Ivey than Nabaji is. The only thing is, he timed it perfectly, but I thought he started the action too late.
I was just going to say.
I was like, when is he going to start the action?
I thought he was going to take a 3 at one point. It was that late in the clock.
Yeah, like he hit that crossover at 3 seconds. I'm like, you're still at the top of the key. How are you going to get this off?
Yeah, because the thing is, if you go a bit earlier, if he misses, you get the opportunity for a tip in. Like, I know you don't want enough time for Toronto to get it and have 5 seconds left, but that was probably, I agree with you on that. That jumped out to me as well.
Yeah, I guess the only thing about the tip in is like with the personnel they had on the floor, you're not getting a tip in.
True, actually. Yeah.
Like they did not have a single guy over 6'6" on the floor.
Who was it? Tobias, Tech, THJ, Beasley, and Jaden?
Oh, I thought it was somebody else and not Tobias. You might be right.
Either way, I don't think there was a big in, so you're right.
No, yeah, but obviously Tobias that's a potential. I mean, I doubt he tips him, but yeah. I just thought they would have started earlier. I was freaking out. I watch all my games on an iPad now so that I can move and pace through my apartment and watch at the same time. I made that switch just for the Pistons. Every other sports team I cheer for, I watch on my 75-inch TV. The Pistons I watch on an 18-inch screen because I cannot do it. I cannot sit in one spot and watch them.
I used to watch it on the TV and like just have my computer, but now I got a desktop here, which is not an iPad, but I'm at the computer now. I'm at a smaller screen where I can move around and
yeah, no, I literally bought the iPad for like streaming multiple football games at once.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much been reserved for pacing around my apartment watching the Pistons lately.
I feel you. Like this team, we're on the good end of it tonight. We've definitely been on the bad end of it plenty of times, especially you and I doing these streams. But
yeah, and I mean tonight. That's why I shot you that DM and I was like, I hope you have like other people on because I'm about to come on. I'm about to come on and go ballistic. I'm about to lose my ish on this team. Thank God I don't have to do it. Thank God I can calmly say what I liked and didn't like tonight because I was ready to blow my top off.
Oh man, yeah, I was pretty. This is the most emotional I've been watching a game. Like I'm normally pretty like laid back watching it, just any sport. Like that's just how I am. But like I was, yeah, I'm glad my girlfriend's not home because I was being an idiot.
Yeah, I'm a full blown
I
psycho
was-
when I watch sports. So
yeah, I can imagine you. You would be like, if you went to a game, are you like yelling the
I'm
whole
a
time?
maniac.
Yeah.
I'm screaming. I'm yelling.
If I have a
Yeah.
few drinks, like if I have a few beers, I'm like that. But if I'm just sober watching games, I'm a bit more reserved. But
I could
love-
have a tranquilizer in me, and I'd still be screaming and yelling, dude. Sports bring out the demon in me. I'll say that.
I think they bring. I think you could say that for a lot of people though. So I wouldn't be too harsh on yourself. I think sports, the emotion in it, bring the demon out in people. See, Ink, were you there tonight? Hit me in the comments if you were, because Jaden Ivey sold out LCA tonight. I'm not sure if that's you're just saying that because it's the game winner or that's actually a fact. But I actually saw some clips. Like I haven't heard LCA that loud in a while.
Dude, when the refs made that call, dude, that was loud.
I love that from the crowd. They
Refs
deserve
suck,
that,
dude.
man.
That was a loud chant.
Did you think? Can I ask you? This isn't a big deal at all, but was that double tech on Ron? Was that incorrect?
Ah,
Was it could be like squared up?
well, yeah, because Boucher pushed him, but Ron looked like he was ready to punch him in the face.
Yeah. So but this like I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I just thought that like at the end of the day, he didn't do anything. He didn't touch him. Boucher
Yeah,
initiated.
I understand that, but like the refs are there to diffuse situations in
Yeah,
those moments, and Ron immediately snapped his head up like a dog who had just been threatened. Like you
Yeah.
could tell he was ready to.
Yeah.
And Ron's the type of guy who I guarantee you he's been in a few fights in his life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it as long as it's both.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
as long as it's both, I'm fine with it because obviously nothing really happens in the long run. It's two players that are, I mean, not super consequential to the game overall.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind that one, but the Stu call on that jump ball was ridiculous.
What? Yeah. What that was because we had that other play. What was that early in the season where they grabbed on a same thing, jump ball, the other player grabbed. I'm explaining this horribly, but we've seen that.
It was the same situation.
Yeah,
it was the same situation.
It was. All right. Moving on. Jaylen Duren. I've spoken about him. Your thoughts?
Good game. Positive thing. And Bryce, you know, that point that he brought up about the offense, you know, I haven't really thought about it too much because like I don't like that. I don't like to think that it's true because you would like to think that a guy who's so young and still proving himself in the NBA and working towards a big second contract like doesn't need the ball as motivation. Like you're literally playing for $150 million. So you would think that would be the motivation. Like I'm going to do whatever this team wants or needs because I'm going to set up my family to never have to worry about money ever again. But it's probably true, man.
I think that's kind of the bad thing that you could say about tanking as well when you give these. Like, I think this is more specifically a JD thing, but overall, when you give these young guys the ball all the time, those kind of habits can manifest.
It's just another reason for Monty Williams to get fired again. I mean, they ran way too much stuff through Duren last year, and I think that to your point, that probably gave him this unrealistic expectation in his head that he's more important to the offense than he actually is. And you know, but to Bryce's point, if you can get that kind of effort out of him defensively, if he wants to dribble the ball up the court and do that every once in a while, screw it, dude. Let him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because that effort tonight, defensively, was what we need out of him every night. So I don't even care if it results in a turnover or something. I really don't. Like that, the defense was way more impactful than if you had a turnover or if he went down, he ran up a terrible layup, whatever could happen badly in those situations. Just let him do it.
I agree. I think the key is, yeah, I don't mind it in the first half. get him involved early. Like, get him involved. Like, I thought that start. I know that the Raptors, as per, quickly erased the Pistons double-digit lead, and it was even before you knew it. But I think that quick start was fueled by JD, and I think having him involved early kind of paid dividends, because I think, like, a lot of the time he's only gotten these 3 or 4 shots a game, which are normally just putbacks or under the rim. So I think getting him the ball in the first quarter kind of obviously got him going, because he had his best first half of the season, I thought. And like you said, like, the effort defensively I feel like it was there all night. He probably had mistakes, but, like,
Oh, of course.
you can live with them.
He wasn't perfect, but, like,
Yeah.
Again, like what Bryce and Cabo said is, like, I think a lot of that was more to do with the guards and the wings not playing good defense.
Yeah.
And, like, dude, the amount of times the Pistons either over-rotated or didn't rotate quickly enough, or got beat off the dribble, or just their guards got put in a blender on the pick and roll. Like, and part of that's probably communication from the bigs. Like, because it looked like some of the times, like, Jaden Ivey, they didn't even know screens were coming. They were just walking into them. It's like, that's probably more communication on the bigs, because the bigs are centers are the captains of the defense. They can see the whole floor. Yeah. So they got to be telling you, hey, screen coming, left, I'm hedging, or we switching. Like, communication is a big thing with centers in the NBA and on all levels of basketball. So maybe that was part of it. Obviously, it's hard when you're watching the broadcast to hear what the players are saying out there, because you have the announcers talking all the time and things like that. But I think a lot of the plays where he got kind of in a bad position was due to just, like, Tobias or Malik Beasley or Jaden Ivey just not being able to defend on the perimeter.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it was definitely the guards and wings more so tonight than the bigs, for sure. I want to ask you about Ausar. I don't think we've talked about him.
No, we have not talked about him yet.
As in you and I.
Thoughts
on his game?
Obviously, first came back, so it, like everybody else said, it was great to see him out there. I thought a couple times he looked a step slow on defense, but he doesn't have live reps right now. He doesn't have those reps. I think it's going to come right back. It's like, for really good defenders, it's like riding a bike. There have been plenty of really good defenders in the NBA who have had injuries that kept them out for a while. They take a few games to get back into the flow, get used to rotations, and then right back at it. I thought he also made a bunch of pretty decent defensive plays. To Kyle's point, I thought the play on Davion Mitchell was more Davion throwing himself into Ausar. I mean, obviously a small guard is going to get that call, but I thought that was good defense. He had that strip on I think it was RJ Barrett driving off RJ Barrett's knee. He had another strip where he knocked it out of bounds.
Yeah.
The rebounding will get better. And then, I mean, the offense, like, excuse me. The only play I didn't like was, I think, the one that Kyle called out, where he tried to do that ridiculous reverse layup and hit the bottom of the rim.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just trying to do something there. And then other than that, I was fine with every other shot. They were within the flow of the offense, and you would like to see him hit that little 6-foot turnaround jumper that he left barely hit the rim, but that's legs. He's been out there for a while at that point. So, but obviously the star of the show with Ausar, his playmaking ability.
Yeah.
He comes in, they get 2 wide open threes right away. He gets, oh man, I need to drink water. But he gets Malik Beasley, a nice open look. Malik clanks it, but he's gonna hit more of those than he. Oh man, sorry, I need 1 second.
You're good. The other one was the where he actually came off a screen, I think, he was running pick and roll, and then Drew, Marcus Sassa's defender, kicked it to Sassa. He hit the open three, kind of on the right wing there. Was that the other one?
Yeah. So the first one was the Beasley hit it, and then the second one was the Sasser.
Yeah.
But then he had a third one where he got Beasley another wide open three, and Beasley clanked it. Obviously, one of Beasley's 432 3-point misses tonight, but man, was he rough tonight.
Yeah, Beasley, he had a rough game.
I don't think I've ever seen him airball a 3-pointer before.
Yeah, what was he in the end? 3
of 14, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Hardaway Jr. kind of saved himself hitting a 3 in the fourth, but apart from that, like Tobias, Tim, THJ, and Beasley, you're not going to win many games when those three play like that. So
I don't know. I honestly thought Tobias was fine offensively.
Fine. 3 of 10, 1 of 4. I guess he hit his free throws.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess I don't think any of the shots that Tobias took were out of character looks.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I thought Beasley was straight chucking, which obviously you're okay with it, but to a point, it's like, okay, dude, you're 3 of 10, you're 3 of 11, you're 3 of 12, you're 3 of 13, we all know the cliche, shooters shoot, but like at some point, 3 of 14, you have to realize like you're kind of shooting them out of the game. It's the same thing we go back to with Cade, like.
Yeah.
And some of them weren't even like great looks in the flow of the offense. A lot were, but some of them were just like, dude, you're forcing.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the first game they've won all year where all 3 vets were. I think Tobias was fine offensively, but where all 3 vets, I think, were pretty bad offensively.
Like it's I'm not saying they all sucked. I'm just saying like normally when the Pistons win, one of them's been good, one of them's been above average, and then one's probably had a down game. Like I think all 3 of them were below average, or if you want to say Tobias is average, that's fine. So I think to actually win with them playing like that is a positive in itself. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading a comment here. I thought Malik was about to, from Nuggies, I thought Malik was about to tear up the Raptors after his first 3 shots. Right. Yeah. So that's right. So he hit all 3 of his threes were in that first quarter.
Yeah, he started 3 of 3 from 3 and then missed his next 11.
Yeah. Wow. That like normally he hits one in that second half and you're like, when they really need it. It just didn't come tonight.
Well, and yeah, that's the thing about like in Malik's other poor shooting games, like the Miami game, he was just missing from the jump. That's his first poor shooting game where he came out and nailed 3 in a row. And it's like, oh, now I can't buy a bucket. And it snapped his streak of 4+ 3-pointers made. And I'm sure there are hundreds, if not thousands of people who bet on him to hit 4+ 3s tonight, knowing Cade was out and knowing that he went 8 games in a row. He hits 3 in the first 3 minutes and doesn't hit one the rest of the game, and he took 14. I know there are people out there ready to rip his head off.
That would mean, look, I don't bet, but yeah.
Well, gambling Twitter's a very nasty place.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in those circles.
Like Twitter in general is rough.
Yeah.
Dude, when people lose bets on like bad beats, when players like with player props especially.
Yeah.
Like, and Katie's the best about it. Katie always like tweets like F your parlays. Like I don't give a rat's ass basically. But like, dude, people say some like, dude, people send death threats. Like it's crazy.
I don't know how you do that, but that's
because you're a degenerate gambler. That's why.
I know, but it's
trust me, it's nuts.
I don't mind if people gamble. I just don't. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a different world. It's one I'm happy I'm not in, even though I get why people enjoy it.
It's literally the dark side of Twitter.
Yeah. Where else do you want to go, Cody? I think we spoke last talking about how 2 wins this week would be pretty solid. So they're 1 down, the one you would expect them to get, they got. 3 tougher games coming up. 8 and 11. I don't know where that puts them in the standings, but
they are 8th.
They're 8th. Well, there you go. I know that game was frustrating and everything that comes with a close Pistons game, but I mean, at the end of the day, they got the win. And how are you feeling with that and where they sit?
I'm obviously happy about the win. There's still so much to clean up, obviously, but I have to keep reminding myself I picked this team to win 28 to 30 games. I have to keep putting that back in my head Because, like, I think you said it earlier. Somebody said it earlier that, like, we got a taste. And now it's like, oh, we're expecting more of these more regularly.
Yeah.
I need to cool the Jets a little bit myself. But for me, it's not like tonight. I would not have cared as much if they lost, and the effort was. The thing that was bothering me about tonight is that I didn't feel like the effort was there for large stretches of the game. Like the rebounding was atrocious, and I don't mean to be so on that and just like beating a dead horse, but like 23-6 offensive rebounding between the teams. You can't have a plus 17 or minus 17 offensive rebounding margin in the NBA. Like against the Raptors, you can because they're a terrible basketball team. You can't do that against any good basketball team and win. You will lose every time.
That different, like, yeah, it's a crazy amount of offensive boards. Crazy.
23 offensive rebounds is insane. That should never happen.
Like,
I mean, they shot 26 more shots than us tonight.
Yeah.
That should be impossible.
Was it really 26? I believe you.
They shot 102 shots. We shot 76.
There's actually 28 more shots.
Oh. I thought I saw 102.76.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, it should never happen.
Yeah, I was only correcting you just because it's actually even more crazy than 26.
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's bad. We'll just say that. It's really bad. But like, 1,000-foot view, get another win this week, I'm fine. That's what I said. I'd be fine with 2-2. And honestly, it'll depend for me if Cade's back or not, because you're going to Memphis on Wednesday. I doubt Cade plays.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking in my head right now, okay, we're 1-1 this week.
Yeah.
If they beat Memphis on Wednesday, dudes, strike up the band.
Yeah.
I'll be all the way back. But I'm not counting those chickens because they're not hatching, at least in my head. I don't think they win that game. But then, dude, you beat the Pacers, where the Pacers have been really good at home, so that's going to be tough. But, like, they're still a very beatable basketball team, especially if you have Cade. And then who do they finish the week against?
Philly, back-to-back at home.
Which Philly is like,
you don't know. They're bad, but I don't know what to expect that game.
Yeah, because, I mean, they have that game where they win convincingly against Brooklyn, and then they come back the next night and lose by like 26.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how to feel about them at all, because you think now with Joel back and McCain going crazy and Tyrese back, obviously still no Paul George.
Joel's out of the
entire world.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, man, they're a better team than what they're showing.
Especially at home. The Pistons should win.
Yeah, like I knew the Bucks were going to turn it around. I had that feeling because Giannis is just too special. But I'm really shocked at Philly. Honestly, like really shocked.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think Cade plays in Memphis. I think they're going to rest him because the Pacers game's an NBA Cup game.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go all out in that game. And I would expect him to be back if he's obviously healthy enough. And then, so I think the Memphis, like, that's why I'm just so relieved as a fan that they won tonight for many reasons. But one of them is as well that we can kind of relax a bit about the Memphis game. Because if they had a loss tonight, then yeah.
The Memphis game is not nearly as like. I mean, it was never going to be easy, even with Cade.
But yeah, absolutely.
But I honestly Memphis is one of the only teams I've not caught any of this year outside of highlights.
Yeah.
Their games are just usually on similarly timed to the Pistons. And otherwise, there's been a better game on than the Memphis game, like overall. Because if I'm not watching the Pistons, I'm watching the best game on. So, it hasn't just worked out where it's been Memphis. But I don't know. Is Jaren Jackson back?
Oh, I haven't even looked, man. I've just saw one highlight of Ja already gliding and dunking on people back tonight.
If you have your computer in front of you, quick, can you just look up what his stats are and if he's been playing?
I'll go to the Memphis game, see who's playing. So Jaren Jackson's playing. Yep.
Okay, that's
So they're
makes
starting
sense.
Brandon Clark at center, and then Edie must be out. So yeah, Jaren Jackson's playing.
That makes it a lot tougher. I thought he was still out. I know he started the season,
So
but
it's
that
gonna
makes
be
it a lot tougher.
yeah. They're pretty much they look fully healthy. They're probably missing someone. Marcus Smart's playing.
I mean, if they're missing Zach Edey,
Yeah,
at least
true.
that helps from a there's a guy you don't have to foul perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they have a tough roster. They're tough.
Yeah, I think that's I don't have many expectations for that. To be honest,
If they find a way, shoot.
absolutely.
But yeah, because I don't know who's gonna guard Ja. That's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably Ivy, but I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, with Cade, I could see it, but without Cade, the offense just looks too stagnant.
Yeah, I think it's Pacers or 76ers. That's where the second or maybe 3 wins is going to come from. But I don't think they've won in Memphis in ages. So they could be due to break a streak there. I know that doesn't count for anything, but yeah.
I mean, there's so many teams in the NBA the Pistons have losing streaks against
true.
right now. It's
That's
this
true.
will be the season when they break a lot of them. I know they've already broken several.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
So maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe they catch Memphis on a bad night. That can always happen. I mean, I was on Saturday because there was nothing on. I was watching the Knicks Jazz game, and the Jazz just blasted them.
Yeah.
And it's the Jazz are obviously a horrible team, and the Knicks were on a 5-game winning streak. So it's the NBA is wild. You can catch anybody on any given night. Memphis shoots it poorly. Jaren Jackson Jr. gets in foul trouble, which happens a lot. There's recipes and there's ways that they could win. But yeah, I think for sure, to your point, it's either Philly or the Pacers, and obviously we're rooting for the Pacers.
Yeah, we want the NBA Cup win.
Yeah, we do.
All right, man. Before I wrap it up here, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, without Cade, it's still a good team win. I'm positive about that. Obviously, a huge moment for J.I. I could see this being a moment where his confidence really takes off.
Yeah.
And he really starts to feel like he can be the man too. Which, I mean, man, dude, if Jaden can just play consistently like that, where it's instead of 2 out of every 4 or 5 games, it's 3 or 4 out of every 3 out of 5, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Where it's happening more than it doesn't is my point.
So that's the next step. That's a great point from you.
Yeah, exactly. If it can be, and I don't even care if it's just slightly more. If it's over 10-game sample size, he had 6 really good games, and then 4 games he was just okay, or even throwing a couple bad games. If he can get to that point, that's huge. Because even your best players in the NBA, outside of Nikola, Jokic, and Giannis, and they all have 2 games out of 10 where they're at least okay. They're not good or great. They're okay. And then most guys on Ivy's level are more towards the 6-5. I mean, that's the difference between good and great players in the NBA. It's how consistent are you in playing well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he can. I think he really is close to taking that step. And I think, let's just say this: if Cade is out longer term, I think the one silver lining of this stretch could be that J.I. really starts to believe he's the man.
Yeah,
and that'll help Cade. To say it how the Aussies say it. That'll help Cade a heap.
It will help him a heap. I didn't know that was an Aussie saying, but obviously I say it a lot.
I mean, I know because I watch. Who are those guys that do the prank videos from Australia? Have you ever seen those guys?
Inspired Unemployed?
I think his name's Shami.
Man. You might have to send it to me in DMs.
Yeah, it's this guy named Shami, and I don't know, he's got some, and then there's Marty and Michael.
I might know them. I probably do. I just can't picture.
Yeah, they just do goofy, ridiculous videos.
Yeah.
And when I watch them, especially Marty and Michael, they're like, "Oh, this one's gonna hurt a heap," because they do punishment videos where it's they do chipping contests and
yeah.
Whoever's close to the pin gets to launch a soccer ball at the other guy or whatever. Just stupid, ridiculous, dumb videos that I watch when I'm in a bad mood because I don't know. I'm a cynic. I like to see people get hurt, but not like actually hurt. So, yeah, I actually hear it a lot in those videos.
I love
Because
it.
we say in America, like at least in America, or at least from what I hear, we say a ton. It's the
Yeah,
same
you
thing.
do. Yeah, it's so true. I never noticed. I knew you guys said a ton a lot, but I didn't realize we say a heap.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's not like a full blown Australia thing. It's just that obviously I have a limited interaction with Australian people,
Yeah.
and it's you and prank videos on YouTube. So it's like that. Those are my sources.
I love it. Well, I agree with your call on Jaden a heap. But like seriously, like this could be something that I mean it's gonna boost his confidence no matter what. And the next step for him is just that consistency. Because he was awesome 4 games ago against the Wizards. 3 games. I don't think he was good in any of them, probably struggled a little bit. And then yeah, huge game tonight. So let's make it 4 out of 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. Yeah, I mean, I hope. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like he will, especially these next, arguably these next 3 games. You don't have a team like the Magic in there.
Yeah.
Like none of these teams are like Memphis plays a track meet style basketball, which plays right in his hands.
Yeah, they've been way more offensive. Like they're not like grit and grind vibes at all anymore, from what I've seen.
No. I mean, again, they're the only team I haven't watched, but doing my box score watching because I check the scores every single night.
Yeah,
the games are so high scoring. Yeah. I saw a game the last week with Memphis that was like at 280. Like that's
they dropped 130.
The Pistons barely get to 200 when they play.
Yeah,
combined score.
Yeah, no, I get you. Well then, yeah, like that's the underrated thing. The Magic loss sucked, but like they are a pretty good team.
They literally just won again tonight.
Yeah, like
so, and they held the Hornets to 85 points. Like they're insane.
That's insane. I
think LaMelo had like 30. So
yeah, I was gonna say. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. I'm just gonna read through some comments after this, guys. But tell the people they can find you. Thank you so much for joining, as always, as our resident guest here.
Yeah, no problem, man. No Fly Zone 906. Just I didn't live. I'm really working hard on this positive thing because I had so many negative thoughts in my brain. It's like line and anger management where this guy, like, they're in their anger management class. He goes, the anger sharks are swimming in my head. That's how I felt right then. I was like, dude, I was so mad. But I'm trying to do more live tweeting, but the Pistons have not given me a game where I feel happy to live tweet because I know I'm going to be negative, and I already said I'm turning over a new leaf.
Well, the one game you could have had that opportunity was the Wizards game, but you weren't watching the game. You were.
I caught pieces of it, but I was traveling.
Yeah.
The one game in the last 5 6 actually that they played really well. It was that one, but yeah, I'm still gonna do more live tweeting. Obviously coming on here and obviously give a shout out to you tonight, Jack. You did land the mega fish in the Pistons community. Bryce Simon. I watch this and just a shout out for Bryce. I love his stuff with Sam Vecini. I watch it a lot. I just think they're really knowledgeable, and I think that's a good podcast for Pistons fans that maybe don't watch the rest of the NBA and don't have a lot of knowledge on the other teams because their podcast is more focused on the league as a whole. They don't really spend a lot of time covering teams in depth. They cover players in depth more than teams, but. I love their stuff, so it was great. It was great to hear Bryce on here because I think he really knows basketball. So yeah, I mean, keep doing what you're doing, Jack. It's a great show. Obviously, I love it. I'm here. I'm here every night. So
I appreciate you.
And I'm gonna say it. I haven't said it in a while. We need more fresh blood. Yeah. We need more new guests. I'm waiting. I didn't see Derek in here tonight, but Derek did say in a DM to me that he's like, I'm gonna come up here one night. I'm waiting. You can trash talk me about the Lions being better than the Packers. I'm waiting, baby. Come on.
I love it. We'll get Derek up here, and there's some other people in the comments who I'm gonna call out as I go through these to get up on here.
That's right.
Especially after these games tonight. Like
for me, the thing is when I go through, I see people dropping 1,000 comments on the team, but won't come up and talk for 10 minutes. Come on, people.
Yeah, I agree. After a win, especially. I get if you don't want to come after a loss, but after a win, let's get some more up.
It depends what kind of mood you're in. You had a bad day, they lost. Come let your frustrations out on the team. They had a bad day and you won. Maybe you can turn it around. You can frame it however you want.
Here we go. Larry just said, "I'll get up one day. I'm a tech dummy though." Literally, you don't need to be tech smart. You just need a computer or a phone, and I send you a link. I can email it to you. I can DM you, whatever you use. I'm sure if you don't even have email, I can somehow text it to you to your phone.
Is it Pistons Dave?
Yeah, we got
if Pistons Dave can get up here, you can.
Yeah, me and Dave, I don't know if you're on this stream, but Dave couldn't figure out how to get his camera on. So we just had a black screen up and me here, and we were still talking for like 10 minutes.
I remember that stream. He could not figure out his camera. The other time he had it backwards facing the TV for like 7 minutes. Trust me.
Yeah.
Pistons Dave, let me tell you, Pistons Dave knows so much about the Pistons, more than I can ever hope to know. He's been watching for so long. Knows the Pistons really well, does not know technology. You do not need technology to come up here.
He's been up here multiple times, so
I haven't heard from him in a while, and I'm kind of upset with it. Because I like when he goes into his stories about like old teams that obviously I had no ability to watch.
No, he's awesome. I've reached out to him. I'm going to reach out to him again, try and get him back up here because he might
just be doing his own. I mean, he's a retired Pistons fan. He might just be doing his own thing. He's watching the games though. You know that.
Absolutely. No, he's awesome. All right, Cody, man. I appreciate you, brother. You have a good night, and we'll be back soon.
You as well, Jack.
All right, catch you, man.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I'm gonna go through some comments here. Big show tonight. Plenty of good guests. I would love if we can get some more up here, though, as Cody and I were just talking about. So if you want to come up, just really want to reiterate. Obviously, during the stream, you can DM me, and we'll get you up here. Looks like Austin. Hang on. I think Austin might be coming out. I'm going to drop him a DM now, and we'll get Austin up here for 10 or so minutes. If you're watching Austin, I'm sending you a link right now. So yeah, if you want to come up, if there's a night that works for you best, DM me ahead of time, and I'll just book you in, and we can open the show with you. Honestly, like I normally only have a guest organized for the next stream, so if there's a game in 2 or 3 times, like just shoot me a DM and I'll just make a note to message you. Because I want to get as many people up here, especially after a win. Like there's so much good stuff to talk about. So I'm going to bring up Austin now. What's going on, man?
Thank you for waiting. Oh man, after a W, this is the first time I think after a win I've been on. So I'm excited.
I know. Let's go. How good. Oh, I'm just turning it over to you, man. I've spoken enough. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, one thing I wanted to hit on, which I thought was really funny that you guys were just talking about, you said that you can't really watch sports with your girlfriend because you get a little too animated. Mine's the same way. She always is telling me to calm down and stuff. I'm actually I'm glad she wasn't here tonight because I was going a little crazy.
I was right there with you, man.
Seeing that Ivy game winner, I mean, that's everything you want to see, especially with Kate out. Like Jaden Ivey just kind of taking over the entire game really was just great to see. Seeing Ausar come back and just having him on the floor was a presence, I feel like, which was great. So, and then obviously it's been talked about all night, Jaylen Duren's best game of the season, I think. And it started early, and I think I was waiting eventually for it to kind of like fall off, and then just never did. So I don't know if you noticed it. Maybe I did, or I guess I didn't really look at the stats, but it seemed like maybe he played less minutes tonight. He played in like shorter stretches is what it kind of seemed like to me, which
so he played tonight. You're right. Him and Stu split minutes, 24 minutes each, basically.
Yeah. And I heard you guys talk about earlier, getting him the touches early on and letting him kind of run that break and get into, his style of play might have helped. But I think maybe those short stints of him like giving 100% instead of letting him go, 8-9 minutes where he falls off in the last 2 or 3 minutes and everything falls apart. So I think that was kind of huge for them tonight. But yeah, then just, everything about it, except for the offensive rebounds that Toronto was getting. That was, Yeah.
I love your point though, because I think JB, with those center minutes you're talking about, I think JB's the past few games it's been really evenly split. Sorry, like 24 each, and because I didn't even notice it as much, just watching the game. But maybe the idea behind that is obviously Stu's playing really well defensively, so you want to get him out there more. But you're right, like that energy from JD tonight in those short spurts, like it didn't drop off. He still had like a huge block in the second half, and his first half was the main driver, I thought, for him. But
Yeah.
the 4 quarters, I felt like that was the best game I've seen him play this season.
Yeah. And even coming out in that, I think it was the beginning of the second half, there might have even been their first possession when Ivy had the tip back to him and he got the and one, like just kind of getting into the quarter right away. Like that was good. It was just really good to see that. And, it was tough night for Malik Beasley. Besides his first 3 shots, after that, he was kind of having a tough night, but seeing the vets just kind of standing there, and like I think that's where you're really seeing them like make their presence, even if it's not making shots. It's just giving the confidence to the young guys of like, hey, you can still overcome when you give up. How many did they give up? 23 offensive rebounds today. Something I don't remember. Like, as long as you can like still play solid defense, because that's the other problem when you're giving up that many offensive rebounds. It's hard to play defense for a minute at a time. So allowing that to happen and just kind of staying even keel and just telling the young guys like, we're right there. Like you tie the game. Were you yelling for Malik Beasley to stop pushing the ball when they got that rebound with like 38 seconds left? And
I was
like, slow down.
Yeah, I thought he was going to turn it over.
The no. Yes. Okay, perfect. Like that. So it was just a fun night, to watch, and just it makes you excited for the future. I know that Toronto isn't a good team, but just those were the games they lost last year, and so it's just good to kind of see them take that next step. So
I couldn't agree more. Like it's definitely a game they lose last season, 100%. Like, and just to see them win like that Cade had that, I guess, game-winning left-handed layup and then the block, but this was like an actual buzzer beater. This will do a world for their confidence, I feel like. And Cody kind of was talking about that before, which is Ivy in particular, but I think all the young guys, because the vets tonight, I mean, Tobias was okay, but they all weren't very good. And we've kind of relied on at least 1 to 2 of them to be really good for wins in the past. So I think without Cade as well, like for Ivy and Duren to really step up was huge.
Yeah. I also think Marcus Sasser was a huge point. I think at one point the bench had 11 points and he had 9 of them. So like his impact can't really be, understated. Like he needs to be talked about. And I mean, when Cade comes back, it is going to be tough for him to find minutes. Same with, I think, Ron Holland. Jesus.
That's okay.
So for them, it's going to be tough, but I think you got to keep Sasser in there. Just his offense with that second unit, he can shoot, he can create. So I think that'll be something to look forward to. So
I love that shout out for him because I think he's been, anytime he's gotten on the floor, his skill set has been so valuable for this team.
He's a good defender too. Like that's I think that's the thing that, I mean, he's small, but he can defend pretty well. So
yeah, no, he coming out of Houston, like he was, remember, like a lot of people loved his defense. He's obviously undersized, like you said, but it's not from a lack of trying. His defensive effort's great. But I loved the shout out for him because we have not spoken about him at all.
Yeah.
I just want to bring this one up from Joe B. I don't know what time it is for you right now, Austin. I've still got a while.
I'm on the West Coast, so it's about 10 o'clock for me. So
you're on the West Coast. Whereabouts on the West Coast?
I live in Phoenix, Arizona. So
really?
Yeah. I'm from Detroit, but we moved out here for a job. So
I was going to say, have I asked you how you became a Pistons fan? But I guess you're from Detroit.
Yeah. So we talked about that the first one. I was, I wasn't really a Pistons fan. I mean, I was. You had to go into work Pistons and all that. Like you're a fan because But really, once I think I paid attention to him, the Blake Griffin trade kind of was like for me. Like I wasn't like a super fan of that because it was like, man, they gave up so much for that for a year and a half of Blake Griffin, really. But once they got Cade, once they got that first overall pick, it was like, okay, I'm all in, and I've been all in since his first year, and now I'm still watching them when they are winning or when they are losing 28 straight games. So it's been fun. But I'll end with this. I won't take up too much more of your time. But
no, you're good. We're still got some more time, man. I want to hear all your thoughts.
I think the angriest I was of the entire night was just that terrible call on Isaiah Stewart at the jump ball where they called him for holding, but he was the one getting held. And I mean, even right before that, the Holland tech, when he didn't really do anything, he just kind of, which
I'm with you. Yeah. Cody pushed back on me and his point made heaps of sense on the tech, but I'm with you. I was like, that was, I don't think that's a tech. And then the follow up on the jump ball, like I was losing it. You should have seen the draft tweet I had ready to hit send on. And I just was like, no, I need to calm down.
Yeah, that was one. That was probably the loudest I got all night. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and even the call that they wanted to get overturned on Holland, which was a strip. I don't think I've ever heard that before. He hit the ball first, but then peeled his hand. Like, if the ball was loose, how can you peel the hand back? That one I didn't really understand at all either. So, officiating was kind of rough tonight, which is tough because the one girl's even from Flint. So, I mean, no bias or anything, but she's from Michigan, so you kind of hope to get some of those calls sometimes. But
I didn't know that. How did you know that? Did they say it on the broadcast or something?
Yeah, I think the first game she ever officiated was a couple of years ago, and it was in Detroit, and that was kind of like the big thing was, she's from Flint, and this is her first game officiating in the NBA. So she's done a couple now, but that was kind of cool to see. So
very cool to see. Any other thoughts, my man? I'll stay for as long as you want to stay.
No, I won't take too much of your time.
You're not taking my time. You're not taking my. This show is for every. Like, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you got more? Far away.
No, I mean, really, it's just good team win tonight. I mean, Memphis is going to be tough, but hopefully, I know you guys were talking about like who's going to be guarding Ja the whole night. You know what? Put Ausar out there and then switch him out with Ron Holland and just rotate those two guys. Just let him run around with him. I mean, no, you can't stop the guy. Like he's impossible to stop. So you might as well just put the two athletic wings and just see what you can do with him. Like Ivy will probably be thrown in there, but what I don't want to see is, him. They're going to use switches and stuff and he's going to get put on Malik Beasley and blow past Tim Hardaway. But, in the end, they're the Memphis Grizzlies. They're probably one of the better teams in the NBA. So it's going to be a good test, especially coming off a win, just to kind of see how they can react. What I hope doesn't happen is they get to another one of those games like we saw in Charlotte where they just come out and they just look like they just woke up and are playing with no energy, especially off a game winner. So just have some – I don't want to say unreasonable expectations because, I think where the team is at now is like you're not expecting them to win every night, but I'm expecting them not to get blown out every night. And so as long as I'm not seeing like what we saw the other night, who did they play? Why am I blanking?
Magic. That was a rough
one. Oh, because I turned it off. Yeah, that was why. Because I turned it off. So as long as we're not seeing stuff like that now, just put up a fight against one of the better teams. Maybe you come away with a win and just kind of keep it going from there. So just excited. So.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm excited, and I think it's just so nice to be on the end of a game winner, a buzzer beater. I feel like we've got our fair share of ones against us recently.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think another thing you brought up earlier was you don't remember the last time one happened that was like at the buzzer. The only thing that I can remember was Derrick Rose against the Pelicans. That's the last one I can physically remember being at the buzzer. It was a spin move in the lane, and Blake Griffin had one against Philadelphia. I think was his 50 piece, but that wasn't a buzzer beater. I think there was still like a couple seconds on the clock after that. But
the only other one I said was Kelly Olynyk against Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
That's the only other one I can think of. But I think we have to go back as far as Derrick Rose.
I was just watching a highlight film of all the Charlotte Hornets commentators like best calls, and that Kelly Olynyk shot was one of them. So I don't know if you listen to that guy very much. I think his name is Eric
Eric-
Collins. Eric
Ooh.
Collins, is it?
Can I ask you before I hear your opinion on him? Cody brought him up after whenever the last Charlotte game was, and Cody was like, "Those sorts of announcers annoy him." I actually really like them. What do
I
you
love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
I
man.
love it. Yeah,
I mean, no shots at George Blaha.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's been doing it forever. He's a legend, one of the GOATs, but it's tough to kind of hear him when he's announcing and he's very monotone. Besides count that baby in the foul. I love hearing the Hornets guy because it's just like he makes you laugh, he makes you smile. He's so into the game, like, and even like I think Del Curry is his partner, so like he has knowledge of the game. They work well together. So I like hearing stuff like that. Because you can just tell they're fans of the game, and it just makes it fun to watch. And he'll do football games, and you'll hear him on a random football game on a Saturday, and it's like, whoa, what is this guy doing? Like I recognize that voice. And, I'll leave you with this. Just look up. He had a call in a UCF, University of Central Florida football game on like a 4th and 25, and it's one of the better ones. Yeah, pull it up. It's pretty funny actually.
I'm making a note here. Eric Collins, UCF football. Was it?
Yeah, UCF. They're UCF Knights, but that doesn't. I'm sure it'll come up if you just type in his name with UCF. So
I'm gonna look it up after this, man.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones. So I love him. I think he's great. One of the guys that I miss. That I don't know how we got on this topic.
No, this is what it's about. Yeah,
the commentator from the Sacramento Kings. If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Yeah,
I don't think he passed. I think he just retired. And when that happened, that was kind of sad. So, there's some good ones. There's also some really bad ones out there. Just all sports. It's like, how did you get that job, man? Like,
it's so funny. So here in Australia, so in the US, you guys have like, is the NFL the same? Like every team basically has their own set of commentators for whatever network they're.
The NBA and the MLB and the NHL, they all are very similar in that regard, where they all have like their own home broadcast. The NFL, I think they have radio home broadcasts.
Okay.
But their live like TV ones are usually national broadcasters. So.
Got you. So here in Australia, like we don't have that. Like each team, like you'll just have like a set of commentators. You probably have like, I'll say 3 or 4 sets for each league. Like our basketball league will have 3 or 4, and they just rotate on the game. So there's so many commentators in the US, so many different networks.
What really threw me off for a while was when I would watch like an ESPN game, like the finals for an example, and I'd see Mike Breen doing the finals game. I'd be like, man, I wonder what this guy does. And you look, and he's the Knicks play-by-play guy. It's like, oh, okay, like he's one of the better ones. But that's the thing with MLB teams; they have radio and TV, so they have both of them. The Tigers actually this year they had radio, TV, and then I think Saturday games they did a Spanish radio broadcast as well. So they had 3 broadcasts going at once. So they're getting everybody in there.
It's insane, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask you your thoughts on so Sketch here brings up Johnny Kane needing to be on the mic permanently. Seeing Inc agrees as well. We both, like you mentioned, like respect the hell out of George Blaha. Like, been doing this for I don't even know how long, but he's seen every iteration of this Pistons team.
I mean, he was there for the back-to-back champions, so that's
like, he's an absolute legend. But I'm with you. I think like it's not something that honestly I think about too often, but when Johnny does the call, that energy shift is noticeable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, he's a younger guy. He kind of brings a little bit more energy to the game. What I really like about Johnny Kane is that he tries to bring kind of his own calls to the game. What is his? He'll say like impossible shot. That's like one of his favorite things. Like, oh, that's an impossible shot. Like, I think he even said it to Jaden Ivey tonight in the pregame or postgame. That was an impossible shot. I like Johnny Kane. what's really cool for me, I think, is when you get to see the players interact with him. It seems like they kind of like, in a position like that as like a sideline reporter, you're kind of like, man, I wonder what they do, like how they kind of interact with players and stuff. But they look like they have a pretty good relationship. So, no, it's good, and I like him. But they're rocking with George Blah, who he's also the voice of Michigan State football.
Is he really?
Yeah, so he's been
Is
doing
he
both
still
of those.
calling that?
Yeah, so sometimes when they're at like if it's a home game on Saturday, well, probably not anymore because they have their last game on this Saturday, but any home games in like October, that's why Johnny Kane will be on the broadcast because he's doing Michigan State football. So yeah,
there you go. Oh, there you go. Some commentary talk.
Yeah,
I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, if you don't have any other thoughts, Austin, thank you so much for waiting.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on again, man. I really enjoy doing this. So,
of course, man, you are welcome anytime. And please hit me up whenever you want to come on.
For sure, man.
Or I'll be chasing you up.
Yeah.
All right, man. You have a good night and enjoy the win.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
All right, catch ya. All right, guys. Shout out to Austin for waiting for that long and then just being an awesome guest. I was about to go through some comments here, so let's just have a quick scan. Nuggies obviously lost out on a parlay, I assume. Oh, here he goes. Second time gambling. I thought Malik over 3.5 threes was a steal. Oh, man. I hope it didn't ruin your viewing experience of the game too much because it was a fun game. Drake did y'all talk about Duren's 4 blocks and overall effort on that end? We sure did. We spoke about it with Bryce, with Cody, with Kyle. JD was awesome tonight. Best game of the season. Shout out to him. Like, honestly, up until Ivy kind of took over late, I thought Duren was the Pistons' kind of best player. So he played awesome. Emperor Yuri need K Friday for the cup game. Yeah, I think that I'm with you. I think he's probably not going to play in Memphis. I think particularly now because they got the win tonight, they now will probably just say, K, unless he's like fully healthy, rest up. Let's get you back to the cup game because we want to go to Vegas. See an ink. If they get another nail biter game versus the Grizzlies, I would consider that a success, win or loss. I agree. No moral victories, and I'm not saying you're saying that, but no moral victories for me this season. But a close game against the Grizzlies, still be in the game with 5 minutes left, and then hopefully have a chance to pinch it and win it. If you lose, if Cade's not playing as well, like I think, you can be happy with that effort. Not saying it's amazing, but I feel you there, Scenic. I'm just going through. Scenic, Yakapurtle actually plays dirty and JB exposed him this game. So much jersey grabbing and pulling. Some might say that's crafty veteran play, but if you want to call it dirty, I feel you. Yeah, I thought that was one of the JD outplaying Yakapurtle was huge because Yakapurtle's been on a tear and it started against the Pistons a week and a half ago when he had like 30 and 15 or something. So, yeah, really good to see Duren outplay him because he's a quality big. He's a really good starting big. Ryan, Jack and Bryce doesn't get better than this. Yeah, Bryce is awesome. I love chatting with him. I hope you guys enjoyed that kind of 25 to 30 minutes at the start. And I'll definitely get Bryce back on. He's just extremely busy, but I know he'll come on if he has the time. So I will definitely try and get him on as much as possible because honestly, I can't think of anyone else in the Pistons community. And I say this not to put anyone down. He just knows the game so well. He played Division I basketball. Just awesome to talk basketball with, and obviously Pistons. So very appreciative of him joining. Ryan, so nice to see we have a backcourt of the future. So good. And I love what Cody said there at the end about the opportunity and Ivy has now with Cade out, and also the fact that, how much confidence Ivy can get from tonight, hitting the game winner, that he can be that true guy. Like, I think Ivy believes that. He doesn't need me telling him that, but I think tonight will really start to cement that feeling for him and give him that confidence to hopefully, like Cody said, be more consistent with these good games. Have them happening 4 out of 6 games, 5 out of 7, as opposed to probably what is at the moment 2 out of 5. So I love that point from Cody. But the backcourt of the future is a real thing. Just some confirmation that the ref is from Flint. Thank you, CN Inc. And then YouTube user. All major sports have radio broadcasts. Yeah, I know they're doing the NBA as well because I've listened to the Pistons, who, as YouTube user says here, is Rick Mahorn and Mark Champion. That's correct. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. 2 hours on the dot here. Awesome stream, guys. Awesome win. I can't wait to watch this one back later. I'm going to have a heap of content coming out from the game on Pistons Jack social media channels. So check that out. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. That helps keeping the channel to grow. But if not, thank you so much for watching. And as always, go Pistons.